While doing this exercise, my brain got activated a bit, I think, or probably a bit more. I was wondering about my needs and the world, and in India, there have been a lot of popular cases of sexual assaults recently. Popular cases. I say popular cases because I'm sure there are a lot of cases out there which are not even reported or are reported and not taken care of, or are not given attention, and are not popularized by the news channels. But there are some events, some sexual assault cases, some sexual harassment cases, some rape cases, which are pretty popular, right? And it is on the news almost all the time, and it's everyone remembers it. Like in India, I think there is the Nirbhaya case, and then now there is the Abhaya case, and then there is one more case around small kids, 4-year-old children, girls from a nursery school, and this is in Mumbai, sorry, in Thane, I think it's Mumbai, so in Maharashtra, Thane, Maharashtra, and so the alleged, not alleged, more like the culprit is actually a male working in the school, right? So I was just wondering, apart from, of course, a lot of people keep saying teach men to not rape. I mean, it's kind of like saying teach thieves to not steal. They do it for a reason. They have some motive. They have some modus operandi or something, right? Either they do it for their own benefit, directly or indirectly, or someone tells them to do something or whatever, right? So, for example, the Abhya case, I keep hearing some popular reasons like looks like she was trying to actually, um, bring down some big drug racket, like narcotic drugs racket and sex racket and whatnot. And she was intentionally killed and murdered. And before being murdered, she was tortured and raped and whatnot, right? So basically, someone paid to do that to her, right? Or at least get her shut up, get her to shut up, basically end her life to murder her. So yeah, I mean, people keep saying different stuff like teach men to behave, teach men to actually not rape, teach men to respect women. The thing is, these people who are generally rapists, who will rape adults, even kids or whatever, or there are people who will rape only kids, or like they are pedophiles, right? And it is also possible that a woman rapes someone, or a woman rapes a male or even a female, like female, and it's possible basically a male rapes a female or a male, and a female rapes a male or a female. So it is possible that anyone can rape or assault or sexually harass or sexually assault or do anything to anyone, right? So it doesn't matter which gender, but yeah, statistically and popularly, I think a lot of the criminals are probably men when it comes to sexual assaults, or I'm guessing it, I'm not sure. Statistics would be something like that. Criminals would be men, and people, the vulnerable people, the possible victims or possible targets would be women and small girls. So yeah, I mean, and in the case of pedophiles, I think it can be small girls and small boys also. So yeah, and like the victims. And the thing is, I was just wondering, apart from somehow, let's say you are in an ideal world where almost everyone is like taught to respect women or taught to respect human beings and not assault them, hurt them, torture them, murder them, and all that, right? Then in that case, I think you don't need any law to punish, or even, or you can have a law just in case for the few cases, right? And but the thing is this: it's not an ideal world, and even if women or people say that teach men to behave, to not rape and whatnot, it's two things. First of all, one is it's one thing to teach, another thing to actually um, another thing is the person you're teaching should actually learn, right? Learn and apply, right? So, and also they can change over time. like their behavior, their mindset can change over time. So even if you teach when they're a child, it is possible that they change over time and become something else and become a evil person or whatever. Like in my definition of evil, basically they start assaulting people, hurting people, right? So harming people. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how the psychology, psychiatry works over here and what is the statistics. But yeah, I mean, we can try as much as possible to ensure that there are no criminals. But if there are criminals, how do we protect people from those criminals? How do we prevent crimes? And how do we also ensure that if a crime happens, it gets reported and the criminal or criminals get punishment, right? Appropriate punishment regardless of who they are and what power they have and how much money they have, their economical status, their societal status and whatnot. Like status in society, for example, in India, a lot of times status also is a thing, and in other parts of the world also generally, right? If you are very influential, you have a lot of money and you have a lot of status and power, government like or the political power, political parties and whatnot, you can do a lot of things. A lot of times you can bribe people, and there is always a prize for a lot of people in the system, in the political party system and in the government system, in the whole judicial system, constitution and whatnot. So anyways, I was just wondering, I was planning to ask my niece's school about what is their plan to actually ensure that my niece is safe, and also ask my nephew's school what is their plan to ensure that my nephew is safe. Like what are they doing for their safety? This is something that I want to ask, and I think everyone should ask this to their schools. They can't simply say we don't allow male staff to take care of girl kids or whatever, because even female staff can actually assault girl kids, rape girl kids. So I want to understand what actions they take to actually ensure that kids are safe. So yeah, I want to understand that. Like, are there web cameras? Are there in classrooms and different places? And in washrooms, you can't keep a web camera, but something like, is there any action item and any actions and policies and whatnot, processes in place to ensure that the kids are as safe as possible and there are no loopholes for people to get in? Because usually, let's say for example, pedophiles, for them the target is kids. It can be girls, boys, right? And for them the target is anywhere where there are kids. For example, classes, tuitions where kids go and learn stuff. It can be anything, right? It can be a swimming class, it can be a dancing class, it can be any class, right? Martial arts class, or it can be actually a school room, a classroom, right? So it can be anything, right, where there are kids. Or it can be private tuition where you go to the house and teach a kid and whatnot. So basically, and for example, the popular Netflix documentary spoke about how Boy Scouts America is actually a place where a lot of boy kids and boys come, teenage boys come, who are minor people who are not yet 18, and that is a target for all pedophiles, where they can go in and actually get access to so many kids, boys, and or kids in general, and then they can actually exercise their power, their influence, and somehow do crimes and get away with it, right? Even if it comes out, and if it gets reported and whatnot, and if it doesn't get reported, wow. So I think we should teach our kids to fight. Yesterday, for example, I read one of these posts online which spoke about learn to fight. It simply said learn to fight, and the analogy it gave, not an explanation but an analogy, which is the analogy and explanation both are different stuff, but it's an analogy, nice analogy. It said that it's like learn to fight, it's like knowing a language that most people are not fluent in, right? Most people don't know how to fight, right? So it's important to learn to fight just to protect yourself. Everyone in this world are their own protectors, and I think in the future there might be robots, because we can't have enough policemen for each and every person, or for groups of people. The population keeps increasing, So I think it's important to just start using robots and whatnot, and technology to protect people and humans and any organism. So yeah, but till then, I think we'll have to find out a way to protect people in general. So teach them to fight, teach them to be courageous, and it's a skill, you can develop it. Make them courageous, make them almost as good as fearless. They should not fear anything except death. Fear is only to help you be alive, so they should not fear anything but death, right? So they should not fear anyone, anything, any situation, right? No matter who it is or what it is, right? So as much as possible, they should use fear to only be alive, and to flight or fight, and to be alive. That's all. So teach them to fight, teach them flight, teach them to run, right? Teach them to fight, and then make them powerful, right? Teach people, teach your loved ones, your kids, to be powerful, to fight. Keep them healthy, teach them about the world, make them aware, so that they are aware, they will be aware, and they'll be very careful and whatnot. Teach your kids to actually not take any chocolates or candies from strangers. Small kids, they might just give in to such stuff wherein they'll just take a candy from a stranger and they might just faint because the candy is probably spiked. So if it's spiked, then they might just faint and they'll get kidnapped or assaulted or raped or sexually harassed or whatever, right? So it's important to teach kids about stuff, and give them rules, give them reasons on why they should not do some things, and tell them that hey, this is how the world is, and we want you to be careful, very careful. I understand that it's too much work, and some or many women would say, why are you asking women to be careful? Why can't you just ask men or like the predators to actually not be a predator, right? The thing is, we are still not there yet. Until then, at least, I think we should ensure that our kids, women, humans are all protected. They should be secured and safe. So for them to be safe, they need to learn to fight, they need to learn to flight, so basically to run, to get away from a situation. They need to be mindful and very smart, and yeah, I mean, they should just be strong, and they should not have any fear, and they should report issues, any issues that they have at school, at university, or wherever. They should not be afraid to tell and report issues that they have, assaults, rape, or whatever it is, right? So abuse, whatever. So yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about this. Let's continue the workout.